lot of shoots, you still leave with your head wrapped like Badu used to. Almost bulletproof, the lyrics is the proof. Plus the flow is tsunami like waterproof the roof. That gangsta fake shit, y'all niggas ain't shit. The lead in your belly like I'm feeding you paint chips. No more contests on who's the nicest. Challenge my flow with flotation devices. Start back pacing, do you know who you facing? Leave a mark over your eye like punctuation. Your love from bad broads with Bammers on them. Get flashed in the street like red lights with cameras on us.
First things first, you gotta keep your eyes on your own paper. Scrolling all day on social media, watching what everybody else is doing, it's either gonna do two things. It's either gonna inspire you or it's gonna depress you. Inspire you because you're seeing somebody go from nothing to something and they're just enjoying the fruits of their labor. But then you got some people, it kind of leaves them depressed because while they're scrolling and watching that person's success, all they're doing is thinking about the fact that they're not even close to being there yet. But in reality, everybody's on their own path, everybody's on their own time. It's just their turn right now. But a lot of people can't wrap their head around that way of thinking. The thinking of just wait your turn. People who aspire to be things, especially people in my generation, they want right now. And that way of thinking, it's only gonna leave you depressed and discouraged. The thing that should be remembered about art and creativity is that it is self-reflection. Keyword, self. No matter what you're doing creatively, I don't care if you're writing, singing, dancing, draw from your life. One of my biggest pet peeves that I've come to terms and accepted the fact that it just is what it is at this point is when rappers get in the studio and they start rapping about a lifestyle they've never lived before. And it's like, you know, yeah, it works to get on, but like at the same time, are you really being your true authentic self? Not really. If you can only find a story or feel inspiration from a life that you've never lived, aka somebody else's life, then you've already come up short creatively. I don't care what nobody say. Me personally, I feel like you shouldn't go through your emotions soaking and crying and crawling into a ball and not using that and getting anything out of it in the end. You telling me you're cool with that? That's like working a job every day, breaking your back in the hot sun, doing all of this hard work, and then your boss comes up to you and tell you,
"Hey, yo, by the way, I ain't paying you at the end of the week."
Okay, that's cool. Don't worry about it. That's cool. I like doing a bunch of work and not getting nothing in return.
When I was going through depression in like 2022, I was using my writing, my passion, to speak my emotions. It was like I was in a therapist's office. I've cried during my writing. I've gotten mad over my writing. I've laughed at my writing. I've gone through every emotion that you can go through during my writing process. And with no judgment, my creation just sat there and just listened to me. And what came out of those conversations was, to me, a beautiful masterpiece every time. Whatever you're doing creatively, at first you might find it a little hard to, find your groove and find your lane of what you really want to talk about and who you really are, to be honest. But the reality of trying to find your creative voice is, it might take some time to find it. I mean, true story. I started writing in 2nd grade. But time went by, my writing stayed consistent, but I suffer from completion anxiety. I couldn't complete not one story. I couldn't complete anything. Fast forward to my 20th birthday, and my aunt had gifted me a Chromebook laptop. I remember opening it for the first time and going straight to Google Docs. And I just thought to myself, yo, I've been writing for years. This is what I love to do. This is my passion. Why can't I be a published author? Why can't I be a #1 New York Times bestseller? So I decided to take it serious. But I just couldn't connect with any of the stories that I was writing. Therefore, it led to stories that I would start and stop and start and stop. Most amount of chapters that I ever got to in one of my stories was like chapter 6. One of my biggest problems was I was trying to write about characters that I didn't know, living lives that were alien to me. I tried writing a story one time about a kid who wanted to be a rapper, but started getting into street gang activities, selling drugs and all that mess. I've never wanted to be a rapper. I've never sold drugs, and I didn't come from the streets. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I know it was fiction. But even J.K. Rowling admitted that there were pieces of Hermione that she connected with herself. And then fast forward, December 2024, I went on an isolation journey and did a lot of self-reflection. I started looking in the mirror and then looking inside of myself. And then I started walking outside, touching grass, looking at the world, looking at what's going on in the culture. And then that's when I found the voice that I wanted to use and the subject matters that I wanted to talk about. Now, I'm not gonna break down the subject matter and everything that I'm talking about because I'm working on new stories, working on new novels, and the work is coming. But I just tell that story as an example for y'all to understand that finding your creative voice isn't just saying, oh, I'm a creative, I'm gonna create something, and then it's just gonna come. That's not the case. From 2nd grade all the way to 24 years old, that is my journey. That is how long it took me to find my creative voice. It might take you less time. It might take you more time. It might even take a couple months, but it is a process, however long it takes. And you just gotta understand that as you go through the journey of trying to find your creative voice, be patient with the process and be patient with yourself.
No.